Hey you, and welcome back to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. My name is Astro. This is episode 26. Before we get started with any kind of, what we're going to do today, which I don't exactly know what that's going to be yet, I want to show you guys something. On Twitter, let me see if, here it is, mini plane. So on Twitter yesterday, which I don't normally go on, but I'm glad I did today, or yesterday, the Kerbal Space Program official Twitter released a, released a tweet. they liberated a tweet into the tweetosphere. Anyway, they did that, and it was a challenge to build the world's smallest plane. I was like, well, that's fun. And you guys know from this channel, I don't do a whole lot of like crazy design stuff like other people do in this game. I have tried several times for different things, but I can't come close to the kind of creativity that other people have. Or just a raw design skill. But anyway, I gave it a shot, and last night at like midnight, I wound up coming up with this. And so it's just a structural wing connector, type E to be specific. It's a little protobodyne. Really that's just there to put, well, to hold a little bit of electricity, and to hold onto the command seat, which goes on top. So our good friend, well, anybody you want really, but my friend Jeb is going to sit there. There's a reaction wheel in the back, so I have a little bit of authority because you see I don't have any kind of elevons or anything. I don't have a rudder, I don't have canards, of course, anything. The whole plane is just this wing. And then my propulsion is two pairs of separatrons, which have both been thrust limited to 24 on the first one and 21.5 on the second one. And then, of course, I have, not of course, I shouldn't say of course, you weren't expecting this, but I also had to reduce my wheel authority down to about 50% to make it a little bit more flyable. So just a little bit of the separatrons for thrust, yeah, a little wheel, and the rest of it is a plane. And it actually looks bigger in the editor than it does when you actually fly the thing. But it flies pretty well. I'll show you when I go back to the thing, I'll show you the center of lift and center of mass and all that. Really happy with the design. It's pretty cool. And I posted it on Reddit last night, and Reddit loved it. I woke up, I posted it again like at midnight. And I live in America, so it's midnight for me. And by 8 this morning, my phone had blown up with notifications and comments and everything. Oh, I didn't put Jeb on there. Let me go back and put him on real quick before I fly it. And also to build anticipation. I put Jeb on there. And oh yeah, I'll show you the center of so here's the center of mass. It's kind of way low. Oh, you gotta take these off. That's the actual center of mass, but the center of mass calculates with these on, which that to me seems like something they would not include. That's weird to me that it calculates center of mass whenever you have these attached. But anyway, so yeah, of course the center of mass is right there. The rest of this wing is very light. And yeah, my thrust is kind of below and behind it. Now you kind of have to turn your head to see what's actually happening here. But when there's a person on here, I'm pretty sure it's counting the weight of the Kerbal, because this looks like it wouldn't fly. This looks like it would want to flip backwards like this. Because if you think this center of mass pushing up, if this were an actual ball, pushing up right here would make this ball rotate backwards. So the whole thing would flip. But I think with the Kerbal on here, that's what's happening, is that the center of thrust... no, that can't be it. You know, I really don't know why this works so well. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's not the cause. It's because of the center of lift. Let me put that on there too. Again, if you kind of turn your head, I'm not going to rotate it. The center of lift is kind of pulling. That's what's happening here. The center of lift is kind of pulling up on the back of the ball, and the center of thrust is pushing forward on it, and the whole thing remains relatively stable. Is the idea here? That's the idea. That's the explanation I'm going with. Anyway, let's put this back on there. Let's make sure I get my staging right. Yada da da da. There we go. Put the guy on there, and then we'll fly. And it's something remarkable in terms of the flight. It works well enough, apparently. But anyway, what I was saying is that Reddit apparently really likes it. I had a whole bunch of comments this morning. Most of them were people going, "A whole new world." So I thought that was pretty funny. Here's my little guy in there. And we launched the rockets first, and then we decouple, and then fly. And the thing, the thing flies pretty well, really. On my video, I'm not going to do it right now because it took me several attempts. But on my video, I actually managed to fly it underneath this bridge, and then I did a cool like little landing where I went on top of the VAB with it. Just kind of bank pretty hard and come over here. Oop, second engines. This is why I have 2 sets of engines. Ah! Because those first ones don't get you very far. Whoa! Yeah, and then he flips out. It's funny, but he flies for a little while. And had I not tried to turn and everything else, you can actually fly around with the thing, and it's actually pretty fun to fly. Oops! No! Stop! Got to see how the sausage was made there a minute ago. You probably saw I have what am I, I'm on episode 26, so I probably have about 29 save files on this series. I save every episode individually, so if I ever want to go back to a moment in the Let's Play and check on something, or if I make a mistake during one of these videos, I have different save points where I can go back and change things. But anyway, yeah, the thing actually flies pretty well. I'm doing this just for demonstration purposes, all this flipping around. Maybe let's fly by the VAB. Oh, okay. I was gonna try to fly between those two, but then whatever. Look at this. Let's switch over to Kerb. Yeah. Kerb he's the unflappable Jebediah Herrmann was not bothered by his hoverboard exploding. Or magic carpet, if you're Reddit, whatever. So here he is. This is just how he gets up here to check on the radar dish, and yeah, everything seems to be normal in the case of, in the words of everyday astronaut, Tim Dodd. Go check him out if you're a fan of spaceflight. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. That has nothing to do with today's episode. It's just going to suck up some of my video time, but I wanted to show you that. I thought that was pretty cool. And I thought, I had considered when I built it, building it as a video. And I guess in retrospect, I should have gone ahead and done that. But I didn't. Here's a mission to test a liquid fuel engine landed at Kerbal. It's Monday morning. Well, for you guys, when I release this, it'll be Monday morning. So I'm trying to take it a little easy this first episode. We're gonna do a couple small fun things, I think, before we take it more seriously later on in the week. Command pod and the Ant liquid fuel engine. There we go. So yeah, no, I'm not gonna try to do anything too serious. I think, and I am literally just thinking out loud here, I'm thinking about going to Moho. I don't know, maybe now? You want to go to Moho now? What can we do here? What is this notification on my phone? This is scary. I haven't seen that before. Oh, I think it's my wife. And we'll go ahead and test that, and there we go. Oh, I have this. Conduct observational surveys of Ike. Take a crew report in all these places around Ike. Now, I did say I don't want to go back to Ike because I'm, at this point, kind of sick of it. You know, going to Duna and Ike and all that. I'm kind of frustrated with all that. But I have been sitting on that mission for a while, and I do kind of feel bad. Let me go look at it again. I do feel bad for not doing it. So yeah, below 14, above 11, below 11, above 13. So all kind of in the same range. 4 different locations. You get a little science for each one. And they give you an advance, and they give you half a mil completion and some reputation. Let's go ahead and do this. I'll have to do some editing on this video because we're already a little ways into the video as it is. And so I don't want to take up too much time. So I'll just edit out a lot of the boring stuff. But we'll go ahead and do that. Also, I want to show you one more thing. This is the episode where we'll go ahead and finally talk about this. The administration building, which we haven't been in here before, and I did promise that we would talk about this place on one of the first episodes. I'm sorry. My phone's blowing up with Reddit stuff right now. So this is the administration building. For those of you who don't know, and I think it's a really underused building. When I see other people's Let's Plays and other people talking about the game, very few people actually ever even go here, much less use it. But I'll show you what you do. So each one of these, you have the 4 kind of main things that you can do. You have your finances, your science, PR, and then you have operations. And each one of these is a different program, and all they essentially do is they treat your out of flight resources as resources. So for instance, if I click right here, the effect of this is that it takes 5% of your reputation gain, and it gives you that number of funds for each unit of reputation. So if I were to do a mission right now and say let's just make it easy, let's just say 100%. Let's just say I get 100 reputation. It'll take 5% of reputation, so it would take 5 reputation from me. So I would only actually get 95 reputation, and then it would convert that 5 reputation into, a little over 15 grand here. What is that? 60 grand, 100, whatever that was. What did I say? It was that much reputation. That number times 5. And it only costs you 7 reputation. Now I can change the commitment here, and you see these numbers go up. Okay, so eventually I can commit 100%, so it take all of reputation and convert it to funds. So I don't want any more reputation, I only want money. So it would take any reputation gain and it would convert it into money, if that's what you're interested in. I cannot afford, not enough science, okay. Let's just look at another one real quick. Why not? Here's the kind of reverse of that. It takes 5% of your funds, or how much you're committed to. Let's just say, we'll leave right here. It takes 40% of your funds and converts it into reputation. So if you're low on, if you got a bunch of money but you're low on reputation, you can do that. So where we are right now, like we're pretty good on science because R&D is almost done. So we really don't need too much more science. It's kind of hard to say whether I'd prefer reputation or funds right now. But if we wanted to, we could say we can come here and say I need more reputation and I'm fine with money. So I can come in here and commit to a 30% contract and go do a bunch of missions that are high fund missions that will give me a bunch of money, and then at the end of those, a bunch of money missions, I would actually have the reputation that I've been looking for. So this is a way to edit the missions that you have. So when you look at a mission, you're like, I don't like those rewards. You can come in here and change the rewards that you're actually going to get. So we're not going to do any of that, but you absolutely can. I would highly recommend doing it. It's actually really good for early game. I know I didn't do it, but it's really good for early game when you tend to, I think, get a little bit more money than you do science and reputation. So I would take some of that if you don't mind, if you can handle making cheap craft. That's the other thing too. If you just build really cheap craft, then that's just a great way to get science reputation because you're not really spending the money anyway. Same thing as if you do a lot of science in your game, you might want to take some of that science away and give yourself some more money so you can build bigger and better ships, whatever. So anyway, I'm going to build up something and go ahead and launch it into space to cut down on the time of this video, and I will see you once we're up there. Alright, welcome back. I don't want to do the old speed through process of me building this, A, because I kind of took a couple quick breaks to do some things around the house, and B, because all the speed through stuff is giving me a headache, so it probably is you too. I want to make these videos a little bit more concise. At any rate, this is the Lafayette Mark 1. I was recommended in an earlier video to name them after place names, and I thought that was kind of a cool idea, so I might start that for the rest of the series, the Lafayette. Nothing particularly remarkable about it. We've got a command pod, we have a service bay with all of the appropriate goodies inside. Not all of the appropriate goodies, but the standard appropriate goodies. I do not have a docking port on this, although I am going to be doing something similar to docking. I have a couple of photovoltaic panels on the side, of course my reaction wheel. My upper stage is just a huge upper stage with a ton of delta phi in space. And then the bottom is kind of the bottom that we've already seen, except for that I painted these. So there you go, I like painting. We got three fuel tanks here and only 2 on the sides with the main sails all the way around. I did put the main sails, right, at the skipper? Yeah, main sails all the way around. Of course, your wings, everything is strutted. And I guess the only other thing to really point out is that I am going to probably from here on out be using the separatrons. Since I bought them for the plane that I did yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and use them. So also, I probably should show you the R&D since I did buy a couple things in between this video and last. But at this point, just buy the stuff in the R&D if you need it in your own playthrough. I have a couple at the bottom and the top, and they're both slightly angled to not only push the craft away from the center core, but also to tilt it away as well. Since, of course, the center core will be going upward, we want this top to be going this way, and it'll rotate underneath the bottom. If it rotates underneath at all, it'll rotate underneath the bottom of the ship as opposed to crashing into the side of the ship. But this is why you want them not only at the top here, but also at the bottom, so that they kind of straddle that center of mass and push the entire thing away from the craft, which we haven't had really much of a problem with anyway, these cores coming off and colliding with the craft, but it can happen. So I'm going to make a quick edit because I'm going to time warp to a more appropriate flight window, and I'll see you on the launch pad. Okay, so I'm about to launch the Lafayette Mark 1, and I just wanted to mention real quick before I do this that I'm sending Arbo up because he hasn't been, if you look at his log on the bottom, he hasn't been to Ike yet. So that'll be a little bit extra experience for him, and everybody else is already 4-star. And then I bought 2 more, let's just call it, let's say hired, hey, it sounds more humane. Or Kerbane. It sounds more Kerbane to do that. I hired 2 more Kerbals, 2 more scientists, because all of our scientists are now at Duna. So we're going to hire 2 more, and then they're going to go on this mission as well, so they can get some science. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and launch. Normally I would fast forward through all this because we've already seen launches 100 times, but due to the kind of staging that I'm going to do and the separatrons, I guess we'll go ahead and show you this. Also, I want to talk about a few things, perhaps. So, here we are on the launch pad, looking nice. Hope it flies. Let's see. Pretty quick launch. I do have that reaction wheel at the top, and I guess that's it. I got the big delta wings at the bottom, so things should be pretty stable. Something interesting that happened in the Reddit comment. Somebody mentioned, again regarding that plane from earlier. Somebody mentioned something to the effect of, yeah, but once it runs out of fuel, it just becomes a glider. And then all the comments to that person were, yeah, like every other plane ever, which is, I mean, very true. It reminds me that my brother, who works kind of in the electric vehicle field, that's a oversimplification of his job. But let's just say he works in the electric vehicle field. And let's hop back right here. Let's see how these separatrons can work. See how they push it away. Very cool. Very flashy. Anyway, he worked with electric vehicles and promoting electric vehicles to people. And one of the things that he gets all the time in his field is people who say, okay, but what happens when your car runs out of charge? And people do say that all the time to him. And of course, his response, and he says it much more professionally than this, but his response is always, well, what happens when your car runs out of gas? I mean, it's the same thing. It's no different. You just make sure that you have enough charge to get where you're going to go, or that you can charge along the way. I think the thing that they're often trying to say, which of course makes a lot more sense, is that, here in America at least, if you're in an urban or suburban setting, there's a gas station every 30 inches. So you hardly ever have to. You can push your car to the next gas station more often than not. So if you do run out for some reason, or if you miscalculate things, then it's not that big a deal. However, chargers, of course, are a lot more rare, and that is kind of the problem that the EV industry is facing. Not to take this on like a little soapbox, but that is the problem, is that they have to get people to adopt that early adopter fee. To accept that early adopter fee of the infrastructure isn't there, but it won't be there if you don't buy the vehicle. It's a chicken and egg thing. So it's an interesting problem to have. But that's where we are. Of course, this is a problem that automakers had when cars were just coming out as well. I should be in 100 orbit, not 80. 100K orbit. It's all right. 82, 77. That's a little. It's fine. Today, it's fine. Yeah, you limit the people who can actually buy the vehicle. The people who can actually buy the vehicle are limited by people who have access to the resources to actually drive the vehicle, and that's the way it was back then until gas stations became more popular, and it's going to be the way it is now. The fortunate thing is that we all have a gas station with EVs. We all have a gas station at our house for vehicles that you can charge, with a 110 outlet or a 220 outlet if you install one. We're very fortunate in that regard. So there's a little bit of a difference there. At any rate, the whole point, I wasn't about EVs. The whole point was it was funny. Yeah, planes do become gliders once they run out of fuel. That's part of the design. So we'll see one more pair of these separatrons go off. Let's go ahead and launch. I think these things are so cool looking. Gorgeous. Very, very, very pretty. In my mind. Unless I'm grossly mistaken, That's the exact thing that happens with the Soyuz. Excuse me. The Soyuz has a similar configuration to what I did. It doesn't have the asparagus staging, so whereas mine, the opposite pairs of cores decoupled at separate times. I'm not going to try to tell you the orientation. You saw it. The two pairs go off, or one pair goes off, and then later on the other pair goes off. That does not happen with the Soyuz. In fact, I don't think that happens with any, outside of theory, I don't think that's happened with any spacecraft ever. It is theory to actually do it, but I don't think it's actually ever been done. The Soyuz launches all of its, all four of the side side boosters at once. So, alright, well here we are in space. I'm collecting a little bit of those juicy photons with these side things here. These side things, and I have just a ton of Delta V. I mean, just a ton. So we should be fine. At any rate, I'm going to do all the normal maneuvers to get myself to Duna, and I'll see you once we get there. Alright, so I'm going to take just an opportunity to tell you I have a unique opportunity here. Let me reduce my thrust while I'm thinking about it. There. Something real low. So you're not going to see it here, but what I saw was that when my periapsis was up around, I think it was 80, I actually got an intercept with Duna and then gave me an intercept with Ike. So what I'm thinking, and this may not be entirely possible, but what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to reduce my my periapsis enough to go ahead and get in the atmosphere, do a lot of my slowing through the atmosphere, and if I can do it just right, I can skim the atmosphere just enough to slow my craft down, and then continue on to Ike all in one thing, and then circularize there. And that would be pretty flash if I could do that. So I am going to attempt that. So let me go ahead and bring that periapsis down to something I like. Whoa, stop. Overdid it. Let's time warp real quick. If you press the warp buttons, like out in space, it just warps without physics. If you press Alt and the warp button, then you can do physics warp even in space. That's a quick way just to spin your craft around real quick. And okay, that's 53. I'll make an adjustment. I'll make an adjustment a little bit later. Still anti-normal. And because Ike is in plane with the equator, so the more equatorial I am, the better. Man, the thrust, it still could be lower. Let's reduce it down to. I'm barely pressing shift, and I'm. Okay, that's better for sure. All right, we'll keep that and just kind of see what happens. I'll make an adjustment once I get into Duna. But anyway, I just want to tell you my plan. I'm going to try to come in. I might be fast-forwarding through all this, so that's why I want to say it now. Come in, try to skim the atmosphere, and then slow myself enough or burn in some way to catch Ike. That may or may not happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll just capture and then go to Ike. That's fine too, but whatever. We'll see you then. Right, so here we are on Ike. I didn't get the thing that I wanted, but I did get a nice intercept with Mike. With Mike. Why not? We'll just call him Mike. And that's well enough for me. So we have these little areas kind of scattered all over the planet. So it'd be kind of tricky to go to all of them. And trickier still is that I have this huge craft, which is kind of takes a long time to rotate around. It's really not a problem. But I would like to be doing this with just this upper stage where it's going to be really quick and nimble. I have considered just jettisoning the rest of the fuel, but that seems just too wasteful. So we are going to keep it, and we're just going to make do. So I'm going to pick one that looks appropriate, and right now this one right here is kind of opposite of where I currently am. So that sounds fine. So it says below 14.3 kilometers. So I'm just going to go ahead and burn retrograde and bring this thing down to somewhere I like, and bring that periapsis down to about there, 14.3. This is below, right? Yeah, 14.3. So we'll go down to about 13, I guess. And I will, yeah, okay, let's do that now. 13. And then I'll set up a maneuver node to kind of twist my orbit a little bit and make sure that I'm flying a little closer to that zone. Just I don't know exactly where the where it's going to register as being in that zone or not, but we get pretty close to the point of that little marker there, which there it is. Now, burning in that direction does increase your speed a little bit. So now it's at 21.284, so what I have to do is I have to add a little bit more retrograde to pull that in. And, what does that say? 9? Okay. In fact, I collide with the ground there, so let's not do that. And I will be very cautious during all this. 14. That's a little less. I can burn radial if I need to at that point. Okay, so that looks like it, and I fly pretty close to where that is. I'm pretty sure this is going to be okay. And this is exactly what I'm going to do for all of these zones. I'm just going to set up little maneuvers and just kind of fly over and then try to find the next best place. So like for instance, once I hit this one looks like a pretty good candidate for the next one. I'll just do like a normal burn and try to hop from here straight over to here. This maneuver, for instance, is pretty telling. It only takes 50 meters a second. On this stage alone, I have 1214. So, yeah, it's just too much delta V. But that's fine. While I'm here, and because a lot of this is going to be edited out, of course, I can go ahead and open up this stuff. Unfortunately, I'm burning. I don't know. I think I accidentally pressed shift. I did. I pressed shift because I was trying to, I was using my control editor controls. Like I was thinking I was in the editor, and I was trying to move the camera there. It actually might be easier for me to EVA a scientist. This might actually be easier, just so I have a little bit more control over the controls here, the camera. Let's go ahead and observe the materials bay, and we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep everything right now. Let's grab. Well, I'm right here by this stuff. And grab the temperature, and grab the pressure data. Okay, and grab the goo. Okay. Now, I should be getting data for all this. Remember earlier in the series when I couldn't do this? See how I'm just turning the camera and he's always facing away from me? That wasn't working earlier in the series. And I still don't know exactly why that is. And all we're going to do is we're going to store everything in here. Perhaps he can't. Okay, that's fine. I'm pretty tempted just to put him in the cargo bay. Just for fun. Not the landing gear, the headlights. And here we go. You can hop back in. So we're going to grab all that science, even though you saw I didn't actually get much science. You'll see why later on. Perhaps you already know why I'm doing that, but shh, don't tell everybody till we get there. All right. Anyway, so we have 24 minutes until the next burn, so you'll see me just go ahead and do that. Okay, there we go. I got it. I had to do a little bit of a radio burn to where I made sure that my periapsis was right over this zone. That's kind of what I have to do, and that's okay. So the next one is here at site W4K4 below 11 kilometers. So I should be able to let's just go ahead and see if I can do an anti-normal burn here. It's going to be kind of risky, not risky, but kind of tricky maneuvers to do all this, but I want to kind of knock it out, and I have plenty of budget for it, so I'm just going to do an anti-normal burn here. Oops. I apologize, wrong way. Let's rotate the craft all the way around. Let's make sure I'm getting electric charge too. I should be fine. Alright, now let's go ahead and twist this orbit around like that. And then I'll do a radial in burn to reduce my periapsis. That's fine. And then radial in should swing this thing over. I'll hug the planet a little bit closer. The only thing I really have to worry about here is hitting mountains, but I'm pretty sure that I won't. So there we go. I'm kind of swinging my periapsis around, and I'll highlight that. You'll see the lowest is what does it say? What zone is this? Below 11K. Okay. So we're gonna leave that alone right now. It says 9.3 over here. It can't be too much higher over there. We'll have to see. So we'll just speed forward just a hair. Also, we'll do a little visual confirmation that I'm not going to run into a mountain or anything. It looks like I'm okay. And then stop time so I can make an adjustment if I need to. I am about 1 kilometer out from my target. I might need to burn in just a little bit more before we get there. Getting pretty close to the zone. 10.3. Oh, there we go. Entering the site at 10.5. Let's hurry up and make our crew report. Overwrite. Keep. There, okay. There we go. Check mark for both of those. So there we go. That worked out just fine. Alright, next. Yeah, look, same thing right here. Let's just go ahead and twist this orbit around a little bit more. We'll do normal. Apparently that's the one that works for what I'm trying to do. And I am adding a lot of delta V, so you see my apoapsis over here is getting further and further away. We could actually deorbit doing all this, but I don't think I will. Or not deorbit, like escape. So here we go. We'll just keep flipping that thing around. At this point, I'm just kind of like flying over the surface. This isn't really. it's orbital mechanics, but in like the least orbital way possible. Alright, kind of there-ish. Looks like it. And this looks like a good place to go ahead and do another radial in burn. And out of curiosity, let's check my fuel. 749 just on this stage, so yeah, we're totally fine. And same thing, we'll do a radial in. We'll swing that periapsis around so I'm flying at the right altitude when I'm there. This says above 13.4, so we'll do a little bit of a radial out, since above is obviously a lot more lenient than below. I got infinitely more lenient than below, let's say. And what did it say? 13.4. And I'm 13.8 now, so that's fine. And I'm past my lowest point. So we'll go ahead. I am time warping right now, but that's okay. I'm going to warp over. There we go. Entering that sector. And let's grab the crew report, overwrite, keep. Alright, and then we have one more left. Now it's like a speed run. Let's see. Yeah, same as before. Let's just burn normal, and we'll continue rotating this orbit around. Time warping. How am I on my resources? Yeah, everything's fine. So we're gonna keep on keeping on. Where is this thing? Now I'm gonna catch it on the way over. See, I'm going this direction. Nope, did I finally run out? I did. Okay, which is a good thing. And let's call it there. All right. Let's think about the maneuver here. What is I think this is an above, isn't it? Okay, it says above 11.5. I'm just going to leave well enough alone. As long as I don't crash into the thing here, we should be fine. I'm going to quick save just in case. As always. But yeah, that says above, so I should fly above it, I would think. I mean, it should count me as being above it, is what I'm trying to say. Slow down, I don't know where exactly it's going to register. there we go. Entering zone. And crew report, overwrite, keep. There we go. All of the observational surveys above Ike have been completed. Fantastic. So the next part of this mission, just to make this video even longer, is we're going to add a maneuver. Actually, we're not going to add a maneuver. There's no reason to do all that. We're just going to point prograde and warp here. And I'm going to bring all of this data to the DSS because we have science laboratories and research facilities and capable crew members, but we do not have anything for them to do. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and push our apparatus out to get back into the Duna system. Or in the Duna, there we go. And warp. And then from here, I'm going to do all of the same rendezvous maneuvers that you've seen probably 1,000 times before to go ahead and meet up with the DSS. Yeah, a little bit of a last-minute burn there as he was flying over the top. I did manage to catch it though, so that's nice. And now I'm heading directly towards him. Satellite just flew overhead. We'll go ahead and make a couple of small adjustments. And okay, pretty much well enough. Let's go ahead and adjust this thrust again. Get nice and close to the DSS and just kind of park nearby. In fact, I don't even need to get that close, to be fair. Let's see, maybe 100. About 100, 150 meters. A bit too far away. And there we go, heading right for him. And bring this thrust limiter all the way down so I can get exactly on 0 if I can. Which is always hard to do. Seven, 6, yep, 5, 4, 3. Yeah, very hard to completely kill to relative velocity. I always find it hard to get it exactly on 0. Yeah, see when that thing disappears? 0.1. Okay. That's fine. Point orbital normal. Now, and I'm not actually sure that I can do this. Let's see if I can. I'm doing this on the dark side of the moon now. Collect all. And then we'll get, where's our scientist? Here, Tanvin. Go on EVA. And go on the other side. Alright. Should be able to collect all of this data. He cannot. I guess it's because... Oh, no, he is. Okay, there we go. There we go. So he's got all that data. Where's the DSS? That way. And we'll just take a quick fly over there. Man, you know how remarkable this would be in real life? Oh, it'd just be incredible. It'd be scary as hell, too. Alright, where's a good place for me to hop in this thing? Right there's fine. And grab. And board. Alright, so now he's in the ship. And all of the science has been brought with me. So even though I didn't get any actual, I should say data. Even though I didn't actually get science from that, I did get data from each one of them. So what I should be able to do is start research. Research stopped, no scientists present. Oh, interesting. They must be in this one. Start research. No scientists present. Where are the scientists? Let's see. Transfer crew? No crew. They're here somewhere. Transfer crew. Where are you hiding? No crew. There's a lot of places for these people to be, so here we go. And Jewelry is a scientist, so we'll take him and we'll put him in here. And then transfer crew. Lidlin is also a scientist, I think. We can put her in there too. There we go. So now I have 2 scientists in here. Now I should be able to, let's see, start research. There we go. Researching. Now it says it has no data in there. So let's see if I can find how you get the data in here. Crew report, review stored data. Here we go. So review stored data. So I brought all the data into here with from what was his name again? There we go. Tanvin brought all the data into here, and so now I'm just going to click on this button. Now we have this option right here because we have scientists in the lab, and it says data size 12 MITs. So this is, even though I'm not going to have any science from recovering this data or transmitting it, I can process it for science. So it says right here, 60 data is 300 science in 52 days. So there we go. Transmit that, or process that, process all of that. There we go. And then let's click on here. There we go. We are processing data. We have 300 in there of the 750 it can hold, and it is processing science at 5.67 science a day because I have the 2 high-level scientists in there. So anyway, this will fly around Duna and we'll just do science over and over and over again, or research science, and then I'll be able to transmit this science back to KSP. And you'll see that, I forgot what the totals were, but it's going to be several hundred science I'll be able to just transmit back home just from having this thing up here. So that was the entire point of all of this. So there you go. Pretty neat, I thought. Let's go ahead and transfer him. I could do something else real quick while I'm here. Not that this is important, but I just want to show you. I'll transfer him into this science processing lab because this one's full, the other one's full. Excuse me. And then I'll click on it and I'll click level up crew. Yoink. Recorded his experiment and upgraded him to a level 3 scientist. So all of that is because he because we did that Ike trip and he orbited it and he went through space and he orbited the sun and he went over Ike. He's getting a lot of experience for all that. And these labs can actually be used to level up scientists. So instead of having to, normally you land them back on Kerbal, and then once you recover them, then they level up, you can actually level them up inside of these things here too. So these scientists that are kind of stranded out here can still like level up and do things without ever having to go back home. So very neat. Take Tanvin back. We are going to bring him back home though. And EVA. So say goodbye to your new friends. First day on a job. And fly out of here. Where is... I should have done this first. There we go. And let's kind of come in kind of hot here. I love using this little jetpack. I think the controls are a lot of fun. I seriously enjoy just flying around with this thing. Now, the other thing to note about the science and how all of that works is that you can process data that has no scientific value. So for instance, I had already gotten all of those experiments from Ike. You saw me do this in the past, and you saw that when I collected them, they had no scientific value because I had already retrieved that science before. But the data stays, and each individual lab, so DSS has 2 labs, each lab can process the same specific piece of data once. So all of those experiments, they will be used up, but all of those experiments that I brought, that first lab, I can go back to Ike, do the exact same thing, bring them to that second lab, and process it again. I can't process it in the same lab, but I can process it in a different lab. So really, the science in this game is infinite, because so long as you can keep on building labs, you can keep on getting science. So, all right. Enough of all this. I'm going to just kind of speed through the process of getting back home. I think you guys have all seen that before. I might be kind of risky. I have 2748 Delta V. I might just be kind of risky and just try to fly home without having to do the maneuver planner and all that. I don't want to take years to get home, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the orbit, prograde, and since I'm in a pretty circular orbit, I'm not really worried about when I do it. I'm just going to start flying. And yeah, we're going to go home. So there we go. Actually, I should be worried about where I'm going to do this with respect to the planet, but I think we'll be okay here. Set Kerbal as my target. And anyway, there we go. I'll fast forward through all this, and I'll see you once I get back home. Alright, so here we are. Got the big blue dot in the background, and pointing retrograde. We're going to try to slam into the surface of this planet, or the atmosphere of this planet anyway. Here we are. I love watching the thing come towards you. It's very, very cool. It's even cooler when it's a giant planet like Joule or something. That's also very cool. Alright. Let's see if we can get this thing pretty hot. Oh. Oh, I'm coming in very hot. It's okay if it explodes, honestly. Very aggressive re-entry. But you guys have seen me do this plenty of times. I don't really mind the super aggressive re-entries. Capture in one. I demonstrated early in the series. If for some reason you're joining me later in the series and you're seeing this, this is a rather irresponsible way to do this. Yeah, if you go back and watch the first, mini videos, I demonstrate this the kind of more textbook way, where you come in, you skim the surface, and then you capture yourself, and then you make several passes and all that. In fact, my Duna re-entry took like half an hour because I just went around and around and around and around and around. So, yeah, don't think that this is the recommended way to do this. So this is me, whatever. I'm going to decouple as well, and I'll turn the craft a little bit so I can kind of flip. Get off me. Whatever. Let's go ahead and look at our orbit. We will be capturing, we will probably be landing here momentarily. We'll go and warp through all this. Yeah, very ballistic indeed. Huh. Gaining altitude. I should be at my, there we go, I should be at my apoapsis pretty soon with all this. I am unfortunately going to be landing on the dark side of the planet. It seems to happen every time, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'll pretty much use this engine and fuel tank as a giant heat shield, even though I do have a heat shield on my craft, which is plenty capable of this type of re-entry. This is stuck to the craft, so I'll have to fling it away here in a moment. But at any rate, so yeah, these videos take a long time to record. I've been noticing these recent ones. Even a relatively easy mission, or I guess easy, at this point in the series, it's getting pretty routine to make a craft. Picking up, we're getting deep in the atmosphere now, and it looked like it was slowing down, but now it's getting hairy again. Look, moonrise in the background, very cool. Anyway, something relatively routine, like going to Ike, just flying around, docking with the space station, and coming back, which I guess perhaps isn't super routine by a lot of people's standards. I don't know. Please let go. Why are you attached to my ship still? I did decouple this. Where is the decoupler? Right there. Jettison shroud. I have electric charge. Huh. Am I time warped? 1 times time. Yeah, that's where we should be. Jettison shroud, jettison heat shield. Okay, there we go. That was weird. I don't know why that thing wouldn't come off. Anyway. I mean, perhaps that's not routine for everybody, but at this point in the series, it's pretty routine. At any rate, it still takes quite a long time to actually do all of these things. A lot of physical time, me sitting here. And unfortunately, I'm not going to talk through it's taken an hour and 41 minutes to do all this, and nobody's going to watch an hour and 41-minute video, especially when it's like every video is just going to Ike or doing none back or whatever else. These things are important, of course, because I'm demonstrating new things. Like today we talked about the separatrons. We went back to the DSS and we gave science to the crew, which if you haven't seen that yet, we kind of flew around Ike in an interesting way to grab up all the different things. I demonstrated the tiny like I did a lot of new things. That the plane in the very beginning, a lot of new things, or at least what I think are new and interesting things, worthy of making a video about. But on the surface, just going to Duna and back is not something you'd want to watch an hour and 40 minutes of. So this is not me making any kind of a statement other than that these videos just take a long time to produce. And this is just one of the 5 videos I have to do today. So there we go. Got a little bit of data, and which not going to be able to do anything with, but we did get 10 science because recovery of a vessel returned from a flight over Duna. So we got 10 science for that. Cool. Funds, we have 2.3 million now, which I don't remember what we had before, but that's not bad. Oh, part resource, we got 94.8%, so it's not bad. 19/20ths of our science back. And Haley leveled up, Van leveled up on the thing, otherwise he would have leveled up too. And Arbo did get experience, but not enough to push him past level 3. So, there we go, let's warp to the morning. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. My whole Reddit thing's blowing up today. I think that's blowing up by my standards. Like 100 likes would have been cool for me. The fact that it's over 1,000 is really awesome. So I'm really excited about that. If I get an influx of new viewers, hi, how are you? Stick around. I hope you enjoy yourself. Leave comments below and tell me what you think. I'll answer any questions about the game or about myself. And love to have you around. So thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.